Hello everybody, can you hear me? And can you hear the game? It should be sitting there playing music in the background. Will we be stopping at stations tonight, the brown night? No, we will not be stopping at stations tonight on account that there are no trains to stop at stations on this route. We're going to be doing the Canadian National Oakville Subdivision in Trains in World. I think Colonel Failure was doing... I need more coffee, clearly. Colonel Failure was doing the Canadian Mountain Passes last night, so we're doing the Canadian National this evening. Sounds okay on YouTube, excellent. You can hear you, but not the game. It is a bit quiet. Let me just turn it up a bit. We can always turn it back down. How is that? I've quadrupled the volume of the game. Canada kind of vibe, then yes. Have I a quick guide to understanding the signals on this route? No. Other than the very basic understanding I've got of American meaning, if it ain't all red, it ain't red. Then no. Can you hear the music now before we get going? I'm going to we're going to be doing Petrochemical Chaos. Sounds good now. Okay. Well, when we get going and there's engine sounds, it's too loud. Let me know and I'll drop it back down again. Oh dear. I like this. I like shunting, switching, whatever you want to call it, whatever it is in your local flavour. Welcome to Canalty Yard. Tasks today involve processing several empty cuts of tank cars. Shoving is not quite the same though, train boy, is it? It's part of switching includes shunting. It's shoving. What are my thoughts on Dimitri's absence? There's not much really I can say about it, except he will be heartily missed. Heartily missed. Right, engage the generator field, insert the reverser, put it to forwards, turn the lights on, put that to freight, put some of those on, get the brake off. Where's the gauge lights? Ditch lights on, step lights on. Don't want the cab light. Gauge lights. Right. Yeah, this is GP9RM. We're rolling. Or as the Canadians call it, a GR418D. Beautiful, isn't it? And we have got other lights that you can mess about with on here as well. So the main light and the ditch lights are on. I think that's what that means. And then you can mess about with lights, so we can make one of the lights up there green. There you go. We've got the green light on the front here. Woohoo! We have a green light. Now we've got a white light. Now we've got an off light. It's exciting. Don't lie, it is. There's no music at the moment, James. Hopefully you can hear the engine, though. Only me, no problem with the 155 in tunnels anymore. Hooray! I'm glad. That's the first confirmation I've had from the players that that's actually fixed. So that is good to hear. Thank you. Alright, kick in the locomotive brakes and get stopped. Right, we now need to come back here, so let's change that one. Come back. Let's pop out there and have a look at what we are doing. Probably should change direction. Let's just do that for the giggle, shall we? Hey guys. Did I turn the handbrake off? This wasn't a cold start, so it shouldn't really have needed it. Let's go get up and have a look and maybe fall out of the train. Where is the handbrake on this thing? It's not there. Yeah, you can switch cabs. We probably will be doing that during the stream at various points. I can follow this by use the shadows to work out how close you are. My face is in the way of the shadow. No, it ain't. Shadows are right here. They're like just there. There you go. Wellington Crossing. Let's make sure we're all set up. Whenever you're doing switching, you're using a yard like this, you really need to just, before you start moving, go into the map view and just make sure that all of your points are set following the blue line. The blue line is where you need to go. And if you hover your mouse over the switches or the joystick, then you can see it changes colour. If you look at it, it goes from blue to purple, and then you can see where it's going. If it was in the wrong way, it would be, the arrow would go up there, you see. That one goes there. Good. Let's ramp up. What's the glitch in Maple Leaf motoring, Nola? TSW routes are short, are they, Trummick? And they're kind of, they're built, there's a lot more detail in a TSW route, which means they take longer to make, is the main reason. They take a lot longer to make. But we're trying to find ways to improve the process so that we can make routes in quicker time, and therefore we can make longer routes. And the destination boards on the on all of the trains are based on where the real domestic destination boards go, which may be destinations off the end of the route. So that when you're taking screenshots, the trains have got the right destination boards on them. If they all just said either going to Bochum or Duisburg, that would be wrong, because not many trains have those as destinations. After you collect the Autorax, the GP9 doesn't accelerate correctly. No, look, I can uncouple and recouple and see if that fixes it. Just let me know if it does. I have heard this from, not just on this add-on, but a couple of others. What happens is that, so even though you, in these, so for those that don't know how these trains work, you've got these things called angle cocks. So even though you can't mess with the angle cocks yourself, they're effectively like a lever over here and a lever on the other side that open up the flow of these. And I have heard from some people that what happens is that when they couple, it doesn't work. And when we've looked at it, we've not been able to firmly debug it, but once I was able to see it, and the angle cocks hadn't opened. Because even though you don't operate them, they are actually simulated and they automatically open. So uncoupling and recoupling generally then triggers them to open correctly. Bogies! I am playing the Canadian National Oakville Subdivision. Couple of nice looking GP9 RMs here. Got a few tank wagons, tank cars. Oh, you're full of complaints tonight, train boy. I'll close the dab door. There you go. How's that? Kind of blow the horn. What year is East Coastway set in? Modern-ish. It's not ultra-modern. It's the... I can't remember exactly what year. It's not the current version of Southern. It's I think the previous version of Southern. So it's about, I don't know, 10 years previous. Maybe less. I don't know. I can't remember. It's one of those things that I knew at some point. Hey, Josh Cunningham. I'm not aware of what sales there are coming up, Simulation Gamer, or anybody else that's asked about sales. We try and visit every route we can, Nola. It's not always possible, so Long Island it wasn't possible. Yeah, we try and visit every route we can, get as much reference as we can, try and get as many photographs as we can. If there are books, we maybe look at some of those, we see what there is on various photo archives, what's on Google. There's a lot of resource out there to look at. Would I like to see the London Underground added to TSW? I would, actually. My son's been bugging me since he was very small about wanting the Underground added. Hey, Wolves and Trains. Going down a bit of a hill at the moment, 1 in 83. Just ease in the brakes, keep us in the limit. Before it gets all fussy and yellows us. EC, I have no access to do that. So we need to find out how to get that sorted. Which BR heavy freight scenario do you recommend doing first? I have no idea, Faze. I actually can't remember what they are. I would do the first one first. Go. Is there a journey? No, there isn't a journey for that one, is there either? So no, do the first one first. They're all good. We're just on the industrial spur, so I don't think there are any whistle posts on here. Right, so bad guys questions. Dovetail support back end up. We sent a ticket a week and a half ago. Not heard anything back. You're not able to sign into Dovetail Live on PlayStation 4. Can you sign into Dovetail Live website via the website? If you can, like on your phone or something, then reset your password and then try it on the PlayStation. Failing that, then yeah, eSIM2. If you can keep a note of that question, then afterwards I will ping it over to the support team and find out what's happened. If you've got a ticket number, that would be good. Did you get an auto response back? We're almost there. We've got to drag these cars and then we're going to push them back up into here, I think. All the way down to here. How's the solo life doing? Very well, thank you. Oh. Okay, if you've got the auto response back, bad guy, can you ping an add message into the support with what the ticket number is, or whisper it to ECM2, and I'll forward it over to the support team. I don't have the results and the conclusions on the mastery survey yet, only me. That's a good question. No, the engine room's not accessible on this loco, Jay. Wow. This thing stops well. I love Pacers and I would love to see them in TSW phase. Basic suspension physics on AI trains. Certainly something to look at. Need to be very careful about what the implications are performance-wise for that. The bullet physics system that's used is quite expensive resource-wise. Right, I'm going to switch to that one now. Remember, when you come in here, you're doing these things, you need, before every move, make sure all your junctions are set correctly. Good, and that'll drop us into there. We are going to move. Excellent. Nice touch. And Kelly, what are we doing? We're doing Canadian National Oakville Subdivision. I'm starting by doing the petrochemical scenario. And then after that we'll do the Hamilton Explorer, just like a free roamy type thing. And we'll just make stuff up for the rest of the session. How do I type so fast? I've spent a lot of time typing. I don't even type properly. Make any proper typist ill watching me. Does the Peninsula Corridor have more traffic if you get the two add-ons? No, the Peninsula Corridor, sorry, yes and no. The Baby Bullet just swaps out the trains that the Baby Bullet runs, because effectively it already had the extra trains in it from the initial. And what happens is that when you get the MP36, what it does is it just swaps in so that they run their correct services. If you get the MP15, That does add extra switching services and so forth. So there would be more going on there. But the original Peninsula Corridor was shipped with all of the passenger services from day one. Even the ones that aren't run by F40PHs. That's where our fuel loaders are. This is the refinery, I think, yeah. When do you think we're going back to the office? No idea. I don't think there's going to be a huge rush for getting back into the office. It's just going to be, as with all things, the company's taking its advice from what the government is saying, and we'll just be following that. Some people are clearly having, they've not got ideal situations for working at home. Other people like me have got a pretty good situation, so it's just going to be making sure that everyone is looked after in the best way, not just for their health and safety, but also for their environment and their health and the mental well-being. Right, we're getting there. Thank you, bad guy. We'll just chain you up to the front gates again, Bobby. That provided hours of entertainment. So when you're backing these tank cars up, what you need to do is line up these with those. Something like that. Right. Let's make sure there's lots of brake going on. Alright then, so we need that round. We need to open the hatch. We need to get hold of that. Put it on there. Back up here, and we need to turn the pump on. Good, that one's fueling. Same again. Open the hatch, grab the pole, put it down, and fuel. Right, we're getting there. I'll watch for that light and then this going up. That's it. What if it overfills? The auto cut off. So you don't have to worry about it. It's a fail-safe, foolproof system. That's why I'm allowed to use it. Right, everything is now loaded. Head back up to the front and you'll probably find that they're all... the first ones are starting to be finished now. If not all of them. Oops, hello. Went too far. Yep. Turn the pump off. Get rid of that. Close that, and then swing that back. Turn the pump off. Pick up that, put it up there, close the door. You can do this one at a time, or you can do like I've done it, doing them all at a time if you want. Or do a couple at a time. It's really up to you. The game is quite happy for you to do it however you want. That'd be a big old mess. It would be a big old mess. Yeah, totally. You'll notice you can actually see the fuel in there now as well. Get the old Dyson out here. Dum-de-dum. That one. This is the first time you've actually had a loader or unloader that you can actually directly interact with. The first controls that have been on sort of the scenery that you can operate, aside from the original turntable. Right, we've got loaded cars now. What route would I like a pacer on? I don't mind. As long as it's got a pacer. Better shut that door before I get moaned at. You're born in a barn! The load level thing that used to show up. Yeah, it kind of has to be for these ones. Because of the way they work. Alright, so again we're pulling forward to everyone's favourite grade crossing. It doesn't really work with these wagons, from what I understand, Train Boy. With the way the loading system works. Carl Lewis, there's nothing been announced of anything like that, so I can't answer that question, I'm afraid. Not on these cars, it didn't, Train Boy. These are different cars with a brand new loading system that had never been in the game before this point. Yeah, you've probably seen them on other add-ons, but I don't think you've seen them on this. Right. When will there be more UK routes coming out? In the future, Kev. There's no dates, there's no times, there's no releases announced about that. The next release that has been announced but doesn't have a date yet is for the Long Island M3. Keep an eye on all the usual channels for when routes and things are announced, but there will be new routes all the time. Just nothing announced yet. Shanky, you like this one, do you? Yeah, this is it's different, isn't it, than just running up and down a line. I mean, you've obviously got the run up and down there for those that like to do that, but then I spend hours in this yard. Oh, I know what he means, Brendan. The little bubbles. Jay, again, you're talking about future stuff. As and when there's stuff to announce on that front, it'll be announced officially. Oh, you did, Train Boy? Okay, don't know then. Good shout, Northlander. If you want to be the first to find out about new announcements that are made, then make sure you've got subscription to the DTG newsletter via the Dovetail Live website. Long Island Rail Fanning, heavy haul is not on console, no. Again, there's nothing being announced on whether that will happen at some point in the future either. At this moment, that's a PC only route. Matthew Whitmore, this is a GP9RM. Do new routes get long tests before releasing? If so, why do they get faults? They go through quite a lot of testing actually, internally, and we have externals, and we've got beta testers, and lots of faults are found and fixed. But it's a complex piece of software, unfortunately, and sometimes a fix to one thing can break 4 other things, and you don't know that until too late quite often. The team do a good job of finding everything they can, but right, we are now backing up again. Again, let's check our switches. That one needs changing. We are now backing up to that stop at. Yep. Off we go. Aiden, the M3 numbering has been fixed for quite some time now. The M3 was announced because we wanted to show it. Once there's a release date, then you can talk up. Then you can know when to expect it. But a lot of people keep saying, why do you hold off announcements so long until the last minute? Why don't you tell us a bit more in advance? So this one went out a little bit more in advance than normal. It seems to have confused people. It's not currently possible easily at the moment, Nola. Some custom scripting on locos can do it. Some of the British stuff that's in the game has got some little behaviours with the horns, but you can't make it do proper horns going into the grade crossings and things, because certainly in America that requires a little bit more clever thought to do the 14Ls correctly. It's not just a question of blowing a horn at a marker. Which route do I think is detailed well? I think they're all detailed well. I think the environment team does a stunning job. Right, for the run back to Mechanical Yard, move the locomotives to the front of the cars for better visibility. So you're going to ask me to uncouple now, aren't you? We leave the tankers behind. Jakey, you play TS 2020 on PS4. What's your favourite content on it? Is it this one? there any TSW I'm personally not a fan of? There's routes I play less. I play West Somerset less often. I play in North East Corridor less often. That doesn't mean I'm not a fan of them. More, there's other routes I prefer. I play the German stuff, probably Hauptstrecke Rhein-Ruhr and MSB probably the most. Right. Swing round. Sweet chariot. Go past the cars. Actually, I'm going to change ends now. So, handle off. Cut the brakes out. Release the brakes. Somewhere down here is a trail valve. There we go. And I need to generator field off. Pull that out. Turn that off. I'd love to do a guard mode phase. There's quite a lot in it. It's not a simple thing. It's one of those things that starts out looking simple, but is anything but. But I do like the idea. I'm a big fan of that. Right, let's cut the brakes in. Release. Hopefully that'll all come off correctly. Yep. Apply some power and get moving. Can I explain the trail valve a little bit? I can explain it a little bit, and that's about the limit of my understanding. So effectively, you've got in this brake stand, or if you imagine the brake system on the train, so let's say you've got two locomotives, and you've got one of them you want to drive, and one of them you want to be a slave. One is a lead, and one is a trail. And the idea of the difference is am I listening to or reacting to what's happening on the brake pipe to make changes, or am I making the changes on the brake pipe? So when the brakes are cut in here, then this lot will now start. This will start working, and then this says, I think, whether or not effectively it's a lead or a trail unit. Is it listening to what's going on? So by setting this to lead and cutting the brakes in, and setting the other one to trail and cutting the brakes out, it will apply and release its brakes based on what I'm doing. So I get two locos worth of brakes essentially. If I set the other one to cut in, then it wouldn't apply its brakes unless you operated the manual, the lever itself. And I think the same with the trail. And similarly, you then couldn't release its brakes. If the other one still had the brakes and apply, and I came here and just released it, you'd have one loco trying to put air into the system, and one loco trying to take air out of the system. So you'd end up in an unbalanced system. Is it like driving a DVT? No, I think because DVT is just an electronic remote control, I think. Although brakes are probably locally controlled. I don't know. I've not actually looked at how DVTs work in the UK. It's a short answer to that. I imagine it's similar. Why didn't I cross over the small bridge? Because I forgot about it, to be honest, Rutger. That's a good shout, actually. If we change again, I'll try and use a small bridge. No, there's no visual representation of the sand coming out, Jay. The sand button doesn't really do an awful lot at the moment because adhesion isn't properly simulated in the game, so you generally wouldn't even have a need for sand. with the SDA button on 377 on opportunity. I think if you press it at the moment, it just operates the first 4 doors in the train. So it does work, it just doesn't do exactly the way it's supposed to, because normally you'd use the My Track screen on the left to select the doors you want to open, and then you can open them individually. There's no plans to do that implementation at the minute. Right. Let us reverse. Demetrius, are we ever going to get online? Do you mean multiplayer? Hopefully at some point, but there's no plans to announce at the moment on that front. We're focusing on the single player experience, the major feedback that's come back from players. I don't know of any patchwork being done at the moment, DLC Railfan, to be honest. I don't really follow the dev of TS1 at the minute. I've got my head buried in TSW. Here's me shadows. Fly splats on the windscreen. You're into the important features now, Mark. Right, let's head over. We're rolling. Oh, look at YouTube videos and ask people who've got the route, DLC Railfan. If it does what you want, then get it. If it doesn't do what you want, then don't. I don't even know if I've even run that route yet. That's what I haven't done, is checked all my junctions. Who knows where we might end up if I don't check my junctions. Chaos and mayhem. That's good. That's good. Oh, we're going to roll through that road. Stop there. Excellent. Series in parallel, it's how it drives the motors, it's how the motors are connected to the power source. In one way you get speed, in the other way you get power. I mean, selected to one of the options. The default gives you normal usage, but the other one can pull buildings over, albeit very slowly. It's not down to the fact that it needs more horsepower to handle heavy haul Train Simulator enthusiasts. Not at all. Current consoles could handle it. It just needs to be. It's just inefficiently built based on how we now know it needs to be done. So it just needs to be updated with the new building techniques. I say just. That's not a trivial job, but it's. It's not to say that you need new console generations to support it. Do I know what the next train will be for this route? Nope. And it's not. The usual thing is if it's not announced, I can't talk about it anyway. Going up that one in 143. I got tripped by that. Oh, I know what you mean, Face. I haven't got an answer for you at the moment, but I do know what you mean. Shut the door before someone complains. See you later, Rastafan. Let's do some David Attenborough style train spotting. Abdiva, everything is possible in the fullness of time and with the cleverness of people. It's not even a question of being limited by what Unreal can do, because we've gone way beyond what Unreal can do already in certain areas. Changing from vacuum to air in the Gronk, that once you've switched over, there's then another valve you have to pull to empty the brake cylinder. It's a bit difficult to find, but it is there. Where's it located? So if you're standing up and you've got the stand in front of you and the brakes on the right hand side, it's kind of, if this is the stand there and the controls here and the brakes are here, it's kind of about there. It's on the side somewhere. It took me a while to find it. I left the ditch lights on, did I? Oh. Oh well. Too late now. We'll fix them in a minute. Right, we're almost over to the yard. Keep it PG, Delta. Keep it PG. I had a very quick look at the clinch field earlier on today, Flying Scotsman. Yeah, beautiful. See you later, train boy. Dynamic weathering is already possible in the game Nola. It's used in the CSX Heavy Haul Powering America scenario, but it's really been underused in the rest of the content. You can't. It's done. It's selected by the authors when they create the content. That's what I mean. It's heavily underutilized at the moment. How's lockdown? It's good, thank you. It's good. Right, uncouple the cars. Let's just make sure we've got good brakes all over. Alright, let's turn this ditch light off. Is Team Healthy Mole? To the best of my knowledge, they are actually doing very well indeed, thank you. Wolfgang. Ditch lights. No, it wasn't what I was looking for at all. Ditch lights off. There we go. Right, we've got a hole over there. Phase, nothing's been announced, no. Right, go to that one now. Delta, because any progress in the ability to choose more of the UK content and the occurrence across different DLCs. It's something being talked about. It's a little bit more complicated because of the different braking systems, the air brake and vacuum brakes, which is, for example, one of the reasons that the West Somerset stock doesn't work on East Coastway. Also need to be a little bit careful because, for example, the 37 on Tees Valley would never have been seen in that livery. In fact, 37.5 would never have been seen on the Northern Transpennine. But I know some people would like to use the 37 there. But if we enable that, then it will be there all the time. So it's tricky to find the right balance at the moment. It needs a little bit more flexibility in the engine to allow certain things, to allow the player to do more than is necessarily realistic, if you like. Right, that one, and go and get that cut there. Flexibility in timetable planning is a whole different kettle of fish, Deltic. Now, what sort of flexibility are you looking for? Because timetables are very carefully constructed, otherwise they just don't work. You can't just randomly do things in a timetable. What does brake hold do on the 377 and the 166? So it's a button on the throttle usually, and what happens is that if you're on a hill, what you want to do is move over into the throttle. But what happens is when you move the handle into the throttle, the brakes come off before the engine can rev up, which means the train might slip backwards. Brake hold will hold the brake on. So you hold the brake on, you pull it back, and then once the engine's revved up a bit, you can then release the brake hold button, and then you can take off. Whoops. Nearly fell out the window. Right, go to the Hobson Street facility. M3 substitutes, it doesn't add more traffic, because it does the same things as the M7. Okay, so what you mean then is you want an editor. Delta Combo, that's different. There's no news on the editor yet. By the way, on the keyboard, and I think on the console, brake hold is actually mapped to the apply brake button. So even on the controller or the keyboard, you can access the brake hold button. So I think it's either the apply or the release button is set up so that it will do the brake hold button. So even without using the mouse, you can still operate that button. But at the moment, Lucas, the reason for that is because they're not a proper way of doing liveries. It's just changing the one that's in there. When if at some point they will use the editor, you'll be able to do different liveries. When there's a proper solution for liveries, then you can do what you like. But at the moment, you can't create copies of trains. It's not really about slots. It's semicolon on its map too, yeah. So it's a release button then. No, it substitutes in randomly, Carl Lewis. So what you'll find is that when you do a journey, you'll see some M7s and some M3s. No, we're not going to look at the main line today, Lil Quaz. I thought this route really focuses on the switching, so I thought I'd do some switching. We're going the right way, aren't we? Yes, we are. James Butler, you want me to jump off the train when it's moving? Well, let me put the throttle off, put a little bit of loco brake on, so that the train will stop eventually. I don't think I can get off actually on these. You can, look, there you go. Whee! Little trick though, if you ever find yourself with a runaway train, Control 0. That's handy, there isn't a console equivalent of that. Although if you've got a keyboard plugged in, it ought to work. Right, we're hauling up now to the marker over there. I think then we run around. Will TSW have ever had steam locos? At some point I hope so in SWGR. I'm really looking forward to steam locos. We will jump out quick to grab a collectible. I didn't even think about that. That's a good shout. I feel like I need to abuse that functionality a lot more than I do. What, do you thought I wanted to get run over by a train to attack, or nearly get run over? Control 0 will always put you back in the last driving seat that you were in. Right, let us brakes on. The usual rule, Deltic, I'm not allowed to talk about anything which hasn't been already announced. Right, let's go. This is a scenario. It is petrochemical chaos. Oh, I have had a couple of those moments myself, Keith. I've not been paying attention. Comical window, what is your question? Right. Where are we going now? Run round. I think we're just basically running around at this point, aren't we? Yes, we are. Hey there, RPK. How are you doing? There's no. You can't remove the hub without the keyboard no phase. Get on the correct end of these wagons. Pope Francis, enjoy playing Train Sim World. Thank you very much indeed. Glad you're enjoying it. That's really good to hear. Will it be coming though? You know the rules, Face. You know the rules. Has it been announced? No. I cough all the time, Keith Moore. It just never stops. It's nothing to do with actually having a cough. It's just my throat. Hey Eagle Eyes. Mikkel, what version of UE4 is TSW? So it's currently on 4. Technically it's 4.16.4, but it's actually got bits of 4.17, bits of 4.18, and an absolute megaton of our own proprietary changes on top of that. Right. I can see you, Comical Window. Whose decision is it when it gets announced? So the business makes a decision when things get announced, and then they work out how they're going to announce it, and then those things are done. What do I prefer on this ship, the 9RM on 38? They're both good, but I prefer the 9RM just because it's different. Fern Kern, TSW fueled the fire you had and you ended up applying and got accepted to drive metro trains this spring. Well done, sir. Well done. Crunch. Right, generator off, switch that back to cutout, switch that back to trail 6 or 26. Use this now, crossing, leap across. We'll leave them down because we're lazy. Right, generator field on, reverser in and on. That across, that on lead, that released, headlights on. Actually, let's just put that on a minute because I think I left all the lights on the other end and a reverser. I did. That off, ditch lights are off, step lights are off. Gauge lights can come off. Right, okay. Well, that's better. Let's demonstrate at least a small amount of competence. Which should still be a fair bit more than normal, to be fair. Right, now. Now we pull forward there and we reverse these cars up into the loader down here and we do an epic load session. I'm looking at comments as fast as I can, Comical Window, but I'm also trying to play the game as well. Yeah, the Canadian National livery does look good, doesn't it? Raisin no toast. What's my favourite colour, RPK? They're not pink because I was made to wear them. They're pink because I like pink. Right, that's got that done. Let's back up. What's my username? On what? Comical Window. Sky Dodge, there's no announcement for the M3 yet. Is there a way to change cab without getting a driver's seat? Yes. So, certainly. Sorry, if you're on PC there is. If you're on console there isn't at the moment. Press Control- on the PC and you can change cabs. But there isn't a way of doing that on console currently. Well, I guess if you've got a keyboard it would work. RPK, your favourite colour is green. Excellent. Do I have ears? Yes, they're inside my headphones. Carl Lewis, how long is this? I can't remember how long this scenario is. It's got a bit more to do yet. Basically, we load these up, and then we take them back to the mechanalty yard and combine them with the other rake, I think, with the cut. So we haven't got that much left to do now. I think this is the longest scenario in the pack. Again, you need to line up the walkway of the tank car with the gantry. Okay. Close enough. What brakes on? What brakes on? Apparently I wasn't close enough. I thought I was. Let's have a look out the back here. Look at this. Look at this. I'm going to actually pull forward a bit there. That's not quite where I would like to stop it. Zipping cruises when you want to unlock the doors on what train? Right, so right then, swing that around over there, pop that up and put that on. And get stuck. There we go. One done. Just waiting for that to start going, and then we know we're reeling up. Good. We're getting there, slowly but surely. But I think there's twice as many cars on this cut to do. There is a tutorial that shows you how to do this. You don't have to just magically know how to do it. It's loading. Do you know what route you're on, Zipping Cruises? Let's go in. 3 to go. Another one filling up. And the last one. Oh look, there's the bubble, the loading bubbles up there, look. They are there. It's my favourite thing in Train Simulator, this, being able to get out and walk around, because then all of a sudden the trains feel much more real to me. Plus the fact that you can interact with the environment like this as well, it just makes me feel more like I'm part of that world. One done. Two done. Or was it 3? I don't know, I've lost count. Dum dum. And up there's another one done. What we got? 3 left to do. Oops, turn that down as well. I don't know the answer to that question, Face. Yeah, Sam is good fun to watch, isn't he, Casuals? Do I like CSX trains? I like all trains. I have nothing for or against any particular type of train whatsoever. That's it. All done. Can you run across the top of the tank cars? No. Sorry. Does loading the cars make them heavier? Yes. And in fact, what you'll find also is as you load the tank cars, if you sit and listen to it, you should hear the brakes hiss at a certain point because it trips the load regulator on them, the load sensor, and so the brakes take on more air to apply more forcefully. Right, back to McAnulty Yard. Well, hadn't quite released it. Definitely need a bit more juice to get going. Yeah, the TEA tankers will let you run across them, Jay. I know that. Why are there no sprinters? Because there's a lot of trains that aren't in the game yet, Face. It'll take time. We're in Notch 4 trying to speed up now. Clearly a lot heavier train than it was before. What sprinters, Casual Headshot Pro? They're modern. They're more modern DMUs in the UK. Things like 150s and 158s and 156s. Right, now we're rolling. Where are we going in Mechanical Yards? We are going there. What are specifications of the PC that's streaming this? It's an i7 6700K running at 4.6 gigahertz, it's overclocked, and it is a 980 Ti Strix graphics card. I know, I left my door open. It is the end of the world as we know it. Gauge lights are off as well. We don't do dynamic gate crossings at the moment, Casual Headshot Pro. I mean, from a driver's perspective, you'll only ever see them down in reality anyway, in theory. It's bad news if not. Having them dynamic is at the moment quite expensive. And they also need to be integrated into the signalling system as well. So it's not a simple matter to it's not just animate them. The animating is the easy bit. It's integrating them so they go down and up at all the right times, and also react to the fact that, let's say for example you go past a gate crossing and it goes up, and while it's going up you then decide to reverse back again, so it has to immediately then start lowering them again, and know to stay down, and so on and so forth. So like a lot of things, they're never quite as easy as they first appear. What's my most preferred route? I don't really have a most preferred route. I've got routes I generally steer towards. So Hyperstrike, Rhino, and MSB are probably my two of my favourites at the moment. The Long Island I play quite a lot. Northern Transpennine, Tees Valley. I mean, I play a lot of the routes. So the 3 short toots is, I think, a Rule 14B or N or something like that, which is a standard thing that engineers do to just say, I am going backwards, and someone else would have reacted to that and lowered the gates down. It's not an automatic thing. I think we're not too far off done now. It's 2 long forward and 3 short backwards, isn't it? And 1 means you're slowing down. Or coming to a stop. Something like that. There's a big long table. If you just look up FRA Rule 14, there's a big table of all of the different ones are. Final task today is to assemble the cars into a train ready for shipping out. All grubby round here. Shut the door before I get shouted at. Right. On UK lines, why does the driver have to sound his horn when they see a sign with a W stamped on it? That's just the general alert for a crossing. So what it would do is it provides an additional audible warning to anyone that might be on that crossing, which might be a foot crossing or a level crossing, that the train coming. Be aware. Hi 822 and TVT Nut, how are you guys doing? Right, where are we going? We are going to go from that one up to that one's good, and couple to those. It's taken a bit longer than the 75 minutes. Talking level crossings? No. No, I haven't heard about those. What are they? Pull forward again. All junctions are set. Casual headshot, yes, everyone's working from home. We're all working from home. I don't really have a favourite train, Kevin Lynn. The minute I've tried to think about this because people ask me a lot, and I feel like I should have a better answer. But I think so. Let's think about what's in America, and well, freight-wise, I like the little things like the GP38, but I quite like the S44. I quite like the look of the things like the U-boats, with the sort of the short stubby nose on them. I like the switches. The Acela Express, I think P42 is really cool. This is the problem with asking me for a favourite thing, and I'll end up reading the entire rolling stock catalogue out to you. The bottom line is I like all trains. I don't think I found any I dislike, put it that way. Nope, everybody's at home. Casual headshot. We've thought of making everything Casual Headshot Pro, but there's practical things with everything. Usually licensing is one of the main reasons something wouldn't happen. No, I think people would like the Shinkansen. Shinkansen only runs at the same sort of speed as an ICE or a TGV. These locos, they've got something called classification lights. That's what these lights are here. They're not really used anymore, but you can operate them. They work using these controls down here. And what they do is they were set when one train wasn't enough because they had extra cars, so they needed to run a second train. Then they used the lights to indicate whether it was the first train, a subsequent train inside a run, or the final train, I think it was, or something, or the rear car, or something like that. I can't remember exactly what the colours mean, but that's what it's used for. But they're not used anymore. You'll find a number of old trains, a number of the older trains have got classification lights, or class lights as they're called. But yeah, I don't think any railroad still uses them. Oh, licensing varies from company to company, Mikosh. And at the moment, it's obviously especially hard because everybody's going through the same challenging times. And that's it. Should key out really. So leave it in control of the brakes. Good day's work there. Yeah, there's quite a lot going on that one. There you go, look. I still only got a silver medal though. What's going on with that? What's going on with that silver medal? Probably a bit of that overspeeding I was doing. Mind you, it's only a bit behind you. That was a fair bit of overspeeding. And there it was as well. And there it was as well. Yeah, they'll nip into the speeds, quite the scores a fair bit. Never mind. Still 14,000 points to add to the list. So we've got a little bit more time. So the other thing I wanted to show was the Hamilton Explorer is a free roam scenario. You can kind of do whatever you like with in the free roamy ones within limits. You can't leave the yard, but because it is all manual junctions and there's no signals, you can just go anywhere you like. So this scenario has no purpose whatsoever other than to just give you a playground. You'll find that there are trains and cars dotted throughout, and you can just Make it up. Do whatever you like. Everything's available that's in the map, so you can just go where you like. So we did the GP9. Let's do the GP38 right on this one. See, the classification lights are on the GP38 as well. And there's the control panel for it. Cut the brakes in. Red lead or dead. Release the brakes then. Right. So we're on this spur, so let's start by just heading up there. And again, there's no blue lines because it's up to you what you want to do. I'm going to go and get that long cut there, which we're now geared for. Am I in the GP9? I did her in the GP9, didn't I? Oh well. Oh, donkey. That'd be the GP38. No, that's GP9 as well. Where's the GP38 gone? Oh, there's the GP38. Oh, I know why. It's because it's randomising which ones are appearing. Because I logged it in earlier on and checked it, and I was like, oh, I'll get the right-hand one afterwards. Oh, dear. How do you mean, what about the signals, Jay? Freight cars over here. Crunch. We've just got centre beam cars on there, have we? Excellent. Right, in which case I'm going to take these over and dispose of them. Stop lights off. Gauge lights off. Turn the lights off. Change ends. So I try and add the free play areas where they have free plays into the yards, but if the yard has got points, automatic points and signals, then you can't do a free play in it. It doesn't work. So you'll find some yards have them and some yards don't, and generally that, if you look at it, you should find that that's probably the most likely reason. Right. We put some number lights on as well. Hey, we got number lights. There we go. Right, so we're going to take these that way. There, round there, come in that way, that line, come round there, round there, round there, and there, and then we'll back them into the yard. I don't get a huge amount of time to play, to be honest, off the stream Casual Headshot Pro, which is one of the reasons I'm doing this now, because I've been, since Canadian National Group came out, I've not really had time to sit and have a mess about like this, so I'm basically inflicting it on you all now, because this is what I want to do. It's more complicated than that, Mikosh, as always things are, because the signals actually help drive the possible routings and so forth. You can't just make an automatic point into a manual one. It would cause all sorts of problems in the game. So there is, as always, a more complicated reason. Otherwise, we'd have done it by now if it was easy. Did it not get a release stream? I know it did a preview. I thought it did get a release stream. Oh, 1 in 84. Oh, okay, we've just come off the R1 in 84 now, so haul, get the wagons up. Cars. Should call them cars, really. Yeah, wagons. The wagons. It ain't on the YouTube playback. Oh, okay. I don't know then. I know we definitely streamed it. So we're going to run them round and then back them into the into that yard. Who's going to be taking the Please Use place for streaming? Well, at the moment, it's basically going to become Colonel Failure and myself just going every other day. So we Colonel Failure tomorrow. I'm back on Sunday. I'm running London Overground route on TS1 on Sunday. And we'll just see how it goes from there. Oh, nice. That went well, didn't it? Oh dear, oh dear. Oops, indeed. That didn't go to plan. What time are we up to now? Let's go back to Hamilton Explorer. We'll spend a little bit more time. We'll do something different. You notice that number now is a 9, by the way. See, numbers have been fixed. That's the correct number, isn't it? I think that's the fixed one. Right. See if we can find a Jeep. Is this a Jeep? This is a Jeep. Right. Rates. Needle depth correct. Strip lights on. Let's go this way. Change that one. And we'll come back and get these cars here. Actually, no. Actually, no. Let's go out that way. And we'll come through there. Set that for the other side. Good. Are we sure it's a GP? Yeah, it's a GP. Or as they call them, a GR420B. That's a GP38 though. It's got the CN livery as opposed to the black and white slashes. Or is it a GP9 cunningly disguised as a GP38? It would be quite cunning, to be fair, if that is the case, Moggy. But you notice you've got your class lights sitting on the top here as well. It was a feature on all of them, and you'll see it on other locos. If you look back earlier days, you'll see that a lot of locos types that no longer have them certainly used to. Yeah, aware of that, they're real funny. I'm going to take 8 cars, and what I'm going to do is run them round and then back them into there. Right, let's change tracks over to there, and we'll grab some of those centre beams. Evening 0909. How are they even supposed to see the old speed limit signs with the brass bronzish numbers? To be honest, they're visual reminders that at absolute best. You were not allowed to drive on your own on a route if you didn't pretty much know it off by heart anyway. Oh, how close was that? Oh, that's just annoying. That is just annoying. Right. Let us put some brakes on. Wander down. So, first 8 cars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Uncoupled. Ireland would be good, Connor. Either the Dart or even the Lewis or the Enterprise or something like that. There's a lot of good stuff over there. I used to work in Dublin a long time ago. Right, forwards. That's better. Now I'm going to need to back those up and bring them that way in order to get them around there. It's time for the glorious bell that I know you all love so much. So many cars. Right, now let's back these guys up. Actually, to get up to there, I'm going to need to pull them in back into this siding here where we came from. That'll do. TSW, when train spawns in a yard, wages service from can should be fixed by the people spawn inside the train. It's something we've been looking at, yes. Unfortunately, it causes other problems, so it's like so many things. We thought it'd be easy. Just sit here so we don't have to listen to another crossing. Enjoy the peace and solitude and quiet. We'll pack up these wagons and we'll wrap it up, I think. Sorry, pack up these cars and wrap it up. Now I'm paranoid I've got junctions set wrong. That's right, that's right, that's right, that's right. And those are all good. That's more than enough length for me to pull back across into that road there. Good, good. Yes, I'm still streaming. How were the planes train boy that I can't remember the name of? Yeah, I normally do about 2 hours for my streams, Kyle. It's a short stream for me. Blue Angels, that's the word. I'm doing charity streams Saturday and Sunday. I'm going to do 15 hours a day. Bit of Train Sim World, bit of Train Simulator. Should be fun. Train by, I used to live right next door to RAF Mildenhall, which is a US Air Force base over here, and they used to have a really famous air show at RAF Mildenhall, and one of the things that where I used to work at an internet service provider was a stone's throw, just literally the back. We backed onto the fence for the airbase, and so whenever they did these air shows, we just basically would go outside and watch instead of answering phones. And there was one time there was a one of the pilots had it was a Dassault Mirage, I think, Delta Wing thing, and he basically went all the way up, and then did a vertical down, and then he came across the audience, and then went vertical up. The vertical up was directly underneath where our office was, so we were there looking at this aircraft coming towards us down, and then went straight up. And as it went up, it lit its burners. So basically, it felt like we were pushing the plane up. It was amazing, feeling that you feel this aircraft lifting up with afterburners, and it wasn't very high. Obviously, it's because it came down low and went back up again. It wasn't very high when it lit its burners, and it was it's amazing. That's on my channel, Ace Gamer. Right, we're going on the right line now. Yeah, Mildenhall's air show stopped around because of the September 11th thing, and they just never restarted for security reasons. They used to be amazing. I mean, we had stealth fighters, we had the stealth bomber, which didn't stop. It flew over under fighter escort. It was beautifully done. It really was. Jay, it'll be on my Twitch channel. Let's go here, shall we, and watch the train from here. It's a lovely route, Matchup. It really is. There's a lot of details in and around the area. I think it's a bit different because of the normal standard for a route is about the mileage of the journey, which is quite short on this one. But that's not what this route is about. It's about switching in the yard and doing stuff, moving the cars around. It is a different kind of route. Where you're doing more with the locomotives and the wagons because you're stopping, starting, changing direction. You're actually operating these machines. Hey, Frazzlegun. It's that crossing again. Let's go here. Well, if I've calculated it right, it'll just about fit, Train Boy. If I've calculated it wrong, it just won't fit. I suspect it's stopping about there. Right, how are we looking at the back end? What are you panicking about? Loads of room. Loads of room. Right, pack those into this far road here. Hey Jigganat, how's it going? Because this route consists, you have to do track around these. In order for the scenery to work, the tracks need to exist in places, but not necessarily be accessible. There's just lots of time constraint reasons for that. This yard is enormous, and it wasn't possible to model all of it. And so the map reflects the track that you can drive on, but there will be other track that you can see because you can see it in real life. The map, all the track used to be on the map, but the big feedback from everybody was if it isn't drivable, they don't want to see it. There'll be buffer stops which stop you from proceeding, Train Boy. See you later, Train Boy. Right, let's get these backed up. Stow the locos. See you later, Jay. That's it. Hey, Johnny Truth, glad you're enjoying it. Right, we'll just park up the locos in the road just over here, I think. So. Chuck them in there. We should clear the clearance on that junction. That's just rude otherwise. Right, cut brakes out. That one to handle off. Wait, door. And I think we'll leave it there, folks. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be back Saturday and Sunday on my own channel doing some streaming. Sam will be back on 5 o'clock tomorrow doing on this channel, and I will be back again on this channel at 5 o'clock as well. I'll be doing London Overground. I can't remember what Sam's doing, but I'll be doing London Overground. So I hope you'll join Sam and myself at 5 o'clock Saturday and Sunday, we'll see you later on. Have a good time, and we'll check you later. Bye bye.